Thanks for checking out Mornings with Lone Star podcast on irlonestar.com. Don't forget, Mornings with Lone Star is live every weekday on irlonestar.com from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., covering all things Texas country music and Montgomery County news, with weather and traffic at the top and bottom of every hour. You can call in at any time with a song request at 936-647-3776 or Facebook message us on Facebook or tweet us on Twitter. Mornings with Lone Star would like to say a special thank you to the sponsors of Mornings with Lone Star: the Corner Pub and Deli in downtown Conroe, Michal B. Young, financial representative with Northwestern Mutual in the Woodlands, and the Texas Renaissance Festival in Magnolia, Texas. Alrighty then, we're back.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm here.
Man, finally. I'm so sorry, folks. We've had several technical difficulties here on Lone Star Internet Radio for the past 3 weeks, or 3 days due to the rain. If you didn't know, it rained like 10 inches or something like that, some ridiculous number in the area. So I'm sorry, we're finally getting back online, and it's one of those things. Part of, apparently it happens. I don't really know how it does, but now we're back. We got Mike Sasser in the studio. Call in at any time, 936-647-3776. That phone number is located at the top of every webpage on irlonestar.com. It's 936-647-3776 if you want to call in here at Lone Star Internet Radio. We are up. Everything's up, hopefully, right now. That's what I'm hoping for. But we do have Mike Sasser in the studio. He is a weight loss, would you say expert or just advisor?
I would say advisor. Actually, it's my own personal story, so I'm speaking for myself, but I've found a way that it definitely works for me, and I have some success stories out there now, so let's say an advisor at this point.
Okay, yeah, so check out MikeSasser.com. It's MikeSasser, Mike Sasser. You can check him out on Google. Just type in Mike Sasser, and you'll be able to find him. We have been talking about weight loss, and you've been on the Cindy Cochran Show, and you're from Conroe. And that you live in the lake area, and you have a book available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and is it Bookstop? What's the other one?
Books A Million.
And Hastings over there on the west side of 105 and 45.
Yeah, it's actually in stock there at Hastings on the shelf.
And so you can go over there. The book is called?
It is Simple, Inexpensive, and Painless Weight Loss. I did it, and you can do it.
So that's the whole title?
That's the whole title.
Man.
Yeah, it's basically my personal weight loss story, and just backing up a little bit. I'm like a lot of people out there. I've struggled with my weight pretty much all my life. I'm technically from Louisiana. I'm a little bit of a transplant, but I've been here in this area and living on the lake for a couple of years now, and being from Louisiana, we love to eat. We love food, and sometimes food is not so good for you. And I've had a roller coaster ride with my weight all my life. I've done the diet pills. I've done all this type of stuff and everything, like a lot of people have. The workout equipment. You go after Christmas. You rush out and you buy that newest, latest piece of equipment out there, and then 1 month later you're hanging your clothes on it and that type of stuff and everything. I've done all of that. So I found my weight coming back on here about a year and a half ago, actually, and I just thought that it had to be a little bit better way to lose weight, and so I began to research nutrition. That's where it all started at for me, and not so much counting every calorie and that type of stuff, but basically what I found was that if you just read the nutrition labels and you pay attention and you're aware of what you're eating. And this is for all foods, including fruits, vegetables, just all foods. Know what you're putting in your body. And then the two things that I really began to look at is the amount of sodium in our foods nowadays and also the amount of sugar. And when you start paying attention to those two things, you really you can just about lose weight if you adjust what you're eating by adjusting or reducing those two nutrients right there. Sodium, on average, the average American is eating anywhere from 3 to 4, even 5 times the amount of sodium per day that's recommended. I believe that is where a lot of the health issues are coming from. Sodium is linked to high blood pressure, heart disease, that type of stuff. And then on the other side of the coin, the sugar is, again, we're eating 3-4 times the amount of sugar in our diets per day that our bodies actually require. And that is what is making everyone fat, just to be honest with you. And so just looking at those two things alone in your diet, you can definitely make a difference.
Well, it's funny as I'm a big fan of seeing where things came from, in a sense, like how did we get here with our food, and especially how we consume our food. Because back probably about even 100 years ago, a sanitary environment was hard to come by, and even 200 years ago it was even worse. And that's why people even have those stories like we let kids drink beer because it was sanitary when we were coming to the new world and things like that. And like water, no one really drank a lot of water because it was going to kill you. And sugar is the same way. Sugar was something that when I was reading about, I never even thought about it because someone asked this question: what did people 300, 200 years ago do about their teeth? Because today teeth is a huge industry. Right. With dentistry and things like that. And people have their teeth rotted out and all this awful stuff. And this guy basically wrote a paper about the reason why they didn't have to worry about it was because of what they ate back in the day. And one thing they did not eat at all was sugar. Right. There was almost zero sugar in everyone's diet 300, 400 years ago. Or
it was natural sugar. Where nowadays we're into the fructose, we're into the processed sugars, and it's just everywhere because we began. I tell you what, we made a shift a while back from fat was the bad thing, fat in foods in your diet. So everybody shifted away from fat, and I think what they did was they replaced a lot of that with sugar because everybody still wants that taste, and sugar was took the place of fat, which still gave everything that taste.
Now, with that in mind, with sugar, the question I have for you is, as a weight loss person, to me the first thing I always tell people is don't drink soda pop.
Yeah,
that's the first thing I always, because I noticed me when I stopped drinking soda right when I hit high school, it was almost like it's a slow transition. Yeah. But it's a transition. It's for the better. I noticed I stopped gaining weight, and it wasn't bad weight. It was just the fat weight, I guess, in a sense. You can kind of notice you just have a little flab or something like that. And if you just stop drinking sodas, you're going to lose a little bit of it. Not all of it, but you're going to lose a little bit of it. And maintaining that and reducing that income of high fructose syrup and everything you eat, especially anything that you buy in the freezer section and that has anything to do with breakfast or anything, there's just going to be a lot. For some reason, that's only good. It's a good preservative, apparently, and it's in everything.
Sugar is basically used for taste, and salt is used for the preservative. But let me give you an example, Dick, of you talking about sodas. For instance, first off, let me tell you that the daily recommended amount of sugar in our diets should be about 25 grams or 6 teaspoons of sugar. Okay. You take your normal soda out there, whatever, and I'm not talking about diet soda, and we can talk about that a little bit in just a second, but just your normal soda.
Not tablespoons, by the way.
Teaspoons.
Teaspoons.
That's right. Remember, 25 grams of sugar per day. On average, the soda out there can have as much as anywhere from 34 to even 40 grams of sugar in that one can of soda. So you have that can of soda, and let's say you're a person that has one in the morning to get started, one for lunch, and one in the afternoon when you have that 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, a little low, and you have another Coke. You're consuming right there 3-4 times the amount of sugar that you need in your diet before you eat anything. So it could be what you're drinking. Yeah, it could be what you're drinking that is keeping you from losing weight versus what you're eating. Because
now,
go ahead.
And this is going to get, I guess, in a sense, political and things like that. But so 6 teaspoons of sugar is what the higher ups, I call, are recommending. The people who are trying to tell us what's good for us and what's bad for us because of science and everything they're doing. It's not like they're just determining how it works. So what do you think about companies like Coca-Cola and them that are still producing these things, and there's not really a health warning on them?
Well,
because to me, if there's a higher up telling you one thing, and hey, our daily recommendation is 6, and there's a product out there that literally takes that recommendation, kicks it out the window all the way to the next country because they're going to give you 16 amounts in one drink. Do you not see that being something that like they need to have? Like, hey, by the way, this has way too much sugar. That is the recommended use in this country from like the American Heart Association or whoever you call the official regulators of sugar or something like that.
You know,
the FDA, I guess.
You've actually seen some examples of that. Like, for instance, a couple of years back, New York tried to ban jumbo-sized soda fountain drinks and things. You know, because exactly of that, because of the obesity rates and because of the sugar.
Well, I was reading that one out of three eligible men who could go into the Army at 18 couldn't go because of obesity.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a number right now. Is basically there is 78 million Americans that are considered obese, roughly a third, one in three.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Yeah, they couldn't. So, guys, if we went to war, a third of us couldn't go.
That's right. You're gonna have to work out. Really, it's gonna be some tough boot
What
camps.
we'll do, we'll smudge it. We'll be like, that's not. They can come. They can die for us.
Yeah. So getting back to your question, I don't know exactly. Again, it's how far can government go to tell us what we can drink and not drink? But,
I think it's odd that we have representation like the FDA and the American Heart Association, things that are legitimate sources of telling us what's good for us. Mm-hmm. But then I feel like there's an opportunity to be able to be like, hey, Coke, we know you've been around for a while, but still, like, it's silly what you're doing. It's because they probably, and one thing that you like your book's about is reading the nutrition label.
Yes.
And I love how sneaky they're allowed to be on this nutrition level. Like, per serving size could be, a teaspoon. Mm-hmm. Just like that. Like, this is good for a teaspoon a day.
That's so important, and that is one thing that I touched on, and I coined the phrase nutrition math, because if you don't do that math, let's say, for instance, you have I always use a can of soup and sodium, because especially we're going into the winter months, a lot of people like soup. It's a comfort food. So you open that can of soup, and the sodium, you're looking at, let's say it says 600 milligrams of sodium, whatever it is. And it's usually going to say that on the front of the can, 110 calories, 600 milligrams of sodium. It's going to give you all the good information on the front of the can. Now you turn that can around, and that can is going to have 2.5 servings per can. Well, how many people eat, a half a can of soup or a third of a can of soup? Not many people. I mean, you're usually going to open that can of soup and, have the whole thing. Well, so you have to take that 2.5 and multiply that by that 600 milligrams. And right there, basically 800 milligrams is a tolerable level of sodium per day that we have. So you have one can of soup, you have maxed out your daily allowance of sodium.
Isn't that nuts?
It is.
And that's one thing, like I said, I think there should be something like a guideline like we already have. Everyone remembers the food pyramid in school. I really am interested in knowing what the education system as a younger, teaching young adults, because there are a lot of organizations out here in Montgomery County that are constantly telling people what's really good to cook food. Like the Extension Service over there at Texas A&M by the Lone Star Convention Center, they have cooking classes. Yeah. Lone Star Family Healthcare, they have cooking classes available for free. Yeah. Like you just have to go and they'll teach you how to make inexpensive food. The United Way, they have cooking classes available.
Right.
And it's the thing that stinks is no one's paying attention as a whole. Maybe individuals are, but a lot of people don't realize what they're eating every single day.
Yeah.
It adds up when it comes. We've been talking way too long. We got to take a music break. Sorry, but we'll be back with Mike Sasser here on Mornings with Lone Star. He's online, MikeSasser. If you have comments or questions, 936-647-3776. We're going to be hanging out here until about 9:30. So, Mike, we'll be right back. Is that okay?
Sounds good, man.
All right, cool.
Lords and ladies of the realm, the king and queen invite you. Jog a deep and merry way to the Renaissance Festival. Journey to a magic time of romance and adventure. A day of feasting, merriment, and fun for one and all.
The Texas Renaissance Festival. Saturdays, Sundays, and Thanksgiving Friday. October 10th through November 29th. Kids 12 and under are free every Sunday. Tickets available at participating Walgreens and TexRenFest.com. Huzzah!
Behind every victory is someone who helped make it happen. Call them mentors, coaches, or even mom or dad. At Northwestern Mutual, we call them partners, the financial professionals that can help you tap into strengths you might not even know you have, and guide you where you want to be financially and personally, because no one wins alone. Start building financial security with Northwestern Mutual. Contact Michael Young today. Visit michael.b.young@nm.com. You and Northwestern Mutual, stronger together. The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Imagine a place where you can sip on Italian coffee and have a sandwich, followed by a fabulous, delectable pastry. We invite you to stop by Conroe Coffee to experience old world charm. Conroe Coffee is located next to the historic Creighton Theater in downtown Conroe. We are open 7 days a week. Please check our website for business hours at conroecoffee.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Have a caffeinated day.
Hi, this is Catering Cody with All-Star Catering Company. We've been catering for Montgomery County since 2005. We are now offering take-home casseroles available for you to pick up Monday through Friday. To learn more, give us a call at 936-228-0440. Send an email to info@cateringbyallstar.com or check us out on Facebook at Catering by All-Star. So come on in and get your dinner tonight and feed your family the simple way with All-Star Catering.
All right, that was some Brad Paisley with George Jones right there with Two Country. You're listening to Lone Star in the Mornings here at 923, IreLoneStar.com, 936-647-3776. Hanging out with Mike Sasser, talking about weight loss. Now, Mike, I kind of want to touch on local stuff around here. Okay. Like we have a really great food market here in downtown Conroe on the first Thursday, and a lot of local produce. And to me, like they serve local shrimp, they serve eggs and things like that. Would you say going to farmers market is a benefit than going to, like, say, Kroger or something like that? Because a lot of people do. I mean, I hear people like, "Oh, I like to shop locally because you know you have immunities and you have all that kind of because it's local, like your allergies and things like that."
Well, I'll tell you what I read, and this was just in the last day or so, kind of going back to labels, but local can mean anywhere from 50 to 400 miles away. You know, I think that your local markets like that, with especially fruits, vegetables, and stuff, I think that is a good thing. I believe that probably the majority of that is more local. You know, certainly it's probably going to be a little more organic. You know, your supermarkets, again, they have shelf life. They have to put stuff on the shelf. It has to be there for a little while until it sells. Now, of course, they'll pull it down if it doesn't sell. Whereas, you know, your small community markets like that, food markets, you know, they usually, you know, or harvest these type of fruits, vegetables, shrimp, meats, whatever. Usually, just prior to bringing it to market. And usually it's a one-day event type thing, stuff like that. So it's probably going to be a little bit fresher, probably going to be a little bit more local. Again, just my opinion, you know. So it's a good question.
Well, it's also because, you know, here in the Montgomery County area, there's a lot of good food options. And, you know, you're trying to eat, like your main discussion in your book is eating healthy and being basically educated about what you're eating. Yeah. And you don't want to spend 4 hours in the grocery store because you're reading everything. But when it comes down to it, you got to keep it simple, stupid, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, and especially as funny as the palate of a male and a female completely different, right? And especially when you're talking about the intaking of sugar, because you were saying that I'm on heart.org. Okay. The American Heart Association. Men 9 teaspoons, women 6. Right. Okay. And it also depends on body weight and things like that. Yeah. And that's easily taken already one drink with a probably 12-ounce can of Coke. Yeah. So start with that. And one thing too is, would you recommend people looking at what the FDA, you know, what the daily income of, like, where should you get your protein, where you should get, like, how much do you actually need, like your daily vegetable serving? Imagine if the whole country was getting their daily vegetable and fruit serving every day. Yeah, yeah, would be a lot healthier. It'd be unbelievable, because a lot of people don't realize your children don't hit that. Yeah, even at their school, they don't hit it. No, and they're not. Maybe some days they're not even close to hitting it.
You know, you've heard knowledge is power, and that is what my book really centers on. It's and we hadn't even talked about exercise or anything yet, but just, if you begin to, again, look at what, be aware of what you're eating, what you're putting in your body. And I'm not talking about eating salads every day and that type of stuff. My book is Simple, Inexpensive, and Painless Weight Loss. I'm not suggesting that losing weight is simple. I've fought it all my life. But getting back to it, there are simple foods. There are simple ways to do things. And reading labels is one of the first places to start. No, you don't want to spend 4 hours in the grocery store. Now I did for a long time. I mean, I did 4 months worth of research.
There's resources on the internet that people recommending, do this. Like, one of my favorite arguments on the internet is orange juice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because one thing I would say, like, people lie, labels lie. They're there to do that. They're trying to convince you to buy their product. And it's so funny to read about why Simple Orange isn't really not from concentrate and how it's bad for you some way or another. And they claim it's not from concentrate. It's fresh orange juice squeezed from, right there into the bottle. And then there's other ones that are like Minute Maid. That's literally just all preservatives, and like that's what it is. They don't try to argue it or anything. Yeah. But I kind of want to give people kind of a visual of eating, like, with the daily serving. So the daily serving apparently for vegetables is 5 to 9 servings depending on your weight of vegetables.
Right.
So a serving is a half a cup of raw cooked vegetables.
Yeah.
Half a cup.
Yeah.
So imagine how much raw vegetable that is per day.
Yeah, it seems like a lot, but again, if you begin to incorporate these type of foods into your snacking, again, losing weight is not about starving yourself. Food is actually your friend. It's the right types of food, So you can actually work this into your snacks and that type of stuff, and it's not. It turns out to be not such a big deal. When you're first starting, everybody's thinking, oh, my God, I got to get all of this and all of that. Don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Just, first off, pay attention to the nutrition. Look at what you're putting in your body. And portion control. We hadn't touched on that, but portion control is another thing that I talk about in the book. That has been my biggest problem. I find that if I get a plate full of food, I feel like I have to eat everything on that plate. I have an entire chapter called Happy Plate, and that's, it comes from my mom.
You got to eat everything on your plate.
Yeah, if you want to have a happy plate, hey, clean your plate, and a lot of people do that, or at least did that back in the day, and so a lot of portion control is a part of it. But there again, if you eat that, what was it, 5-6 cups of raw vegetables, you're not taking in you're not taking in that sugar, and you're still filling yourself up. So you can't lose by following those recommendations. Know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I think that would be the ultimate challenge. But Mike, thank you so much for coming in. Mike Sasser, MikeSasser.com. Check him out online. He's in the Lake Conroe area. He has a book, Simple, Inexpensive, and Painless Weight Loss, right there on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and especially at Hastings down the street.
Yep.
So check it out, Mike. Again, thank you so much for coming in. You're listening to Mornings with Lone Star. We're going to get back to the music. We got the Cindy Cochran Show coming up at 10 o'clock, so you can stay tuned for that. So stick around here on Lone Star Internet Radio, here on IRLoneStar.com. Thanks for checking out our podcast with Mornings with Lone Star on IRLoneStar.com. Don't forget, we are live every weekday on IRLoneStar.com from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Anyone can be a guest on Mornings with Lone Star, so if you or anyone you know would like to be in the studio and live on the air, just contact Dick, D-I-C-K, at IRLoneStar.com, or message us on Facebook at Lone Star Internet Radio. Mornings with Lone Star on IRLoneStar.com is your Montgomery County morning radio show.